On December 10, less than 2 months from now, Australia will implement the world's strictest social media regulation, banning everyone under 16 from platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. No parental consent, no exceptions. Platforms face fine up to 49.5 million for systematic failures. 77% of Australians support this move. Parents are desperate for solution to a genuine mental health crisis affecting their children. And the government promises this will give kids back their childhood. But here's what should trouble us. Over 140 leading experts oppose this law. Civil liberties organizations warn of mass surveillance. Youth advocates report being systematically excluded from the process. And the Australian Human Rights Commission has formally objected, citing violation of multiple international treaties. This isn't a simple story of protecting children from harm. It's a watershed moment testing fundamental question about freedom, privacy, and who controls young people's lives in the digital age. Let's start with what drove this legislation. The claim that social media causes serious mental health harm to adolescents, and there is concerning evidence. Teen depression rates doubled between 2011 and 2019. Emergency room visit for a self-harm spike after 2010. Instagram's own internal research concluded they make body image issue worse for one in a three teens girl. Psychologists like Jonathan Haidt argue these correlations aren't coincidental. They reflect real harm from social deprivation, sleep disruption, and attention fragmentation. But here's the complexity. Other prominent researchers examining the same data reach opposite conclusions. University of Cambridge Amy Orben found that associations between well-being and digital technology use are so small they're compared to eating potatoes or wearing eyeglasses. UC Irvin Candice Odiers warned that focusing on social media might distract us from effectively responding to the real causes of youth mental health crisis, structural discrimination, economic hardship, and social isolation. And there's this critical fact. 70% of Australian youth who access mental health support do so through social media. For LGBTQ plus teen, particularly in rural areas, online communities provide crucial support that literally saves lives. A 16-year-old from rural Broken Hill testified that social media saved my life after years of isolation and bullying. So, we're not dealing with a clear-cut evidence. We're dealing with a genuine scientific disagreement about causations, effect size, and whether the solution address the actual problem. Now, let's talk about what this law actually requires. Because this is where things get genuinely troubling. To verify that some users are under 16, platform must verify that all users are over 16. When Green Senator David Shoebridge asked government officials whether everyone would undergo age verification, the answer was direct: yes. Think about what this means. Every Australian, not just children, will need to prove their age to access social media. The three main methods are facial recognition, biometric scans, uploading government identity documents, or comprehensive behavior monitoring of your online activity. Australia's Privacy Commissioner, Carly Kine, warned explicitly that the ban creates risk of excessive data collection, affecting everyone's privacy. And this matters particularly because Australia just experienced massive data breaches at Optus and Medibank, affecting nearly 20 million records combined. The Electronic Frontiers Foundation state this plainly. Age verification systems are surveillance systems that threaten everyone's privacy and anonymity. The law includes privacy protection platform must immediately destroy verification data and can't use it for other purposes. But creating this infrastructure at all establish dangerous precedent. As Senator Shoebridge warned, we're building a national age verification and identification system being sold as an online safety for children. Here's the technical problem. The government spends 6.5 million testing age verification technologies, and the results show why tech experts are skeptical. Facial recognition age estimation has a mean error of 1.3 to 1.5 years, meaning a 14-year-old might be classified as 16 or a 16-year-old black as 14. It's performed worse for girls and people of color. Government ID verification is the most accurate, but excludes many youth without documents and create security vulnerabilities. Behavioral monitoring requires the comprehensive surveillance privacy experts oppose. And there, the elephant in the room, VPNs. Young people can simply appear to access platform from countries without restriction. The government's own prime minister acknowledged that ban won't be 100% effective, comparing it to an alcohol age limit that aren't implemented perfectly but remain the right things to do. But notice what's happened here. The government have shifted from protecting children from social media harm to creating a cultural change, while accepting the determination youth will find workaround anyways. If the ban is unenforceable, are privacy harms to all Australians justified by symbolic gesture? Let's consider what expert warn could actually happen. First, as TikTok noted, youth might be pushed to darker corners of the internet where no community guidelines, safety tools, or protection exist. Mainstream platforms, however imperfect, have content moderation and reporting mechanism. Underground forums have neither. Second, UNICEF Australia warned the ban absolves the platform of their responsibility to create safe, well designed services for young users. Instead of forcing companies to build a better products, we're letting them off the hook. As 140 plus academic noted in their open letters, this removes incentive for tech companies to invest in keeping children safe online. Vulnerable population may be most harmed. Christopher Stone of Suicide Prevention Australia stated, young Australians deserve evidence-based policy, not decision made in haste. For young experiencing depression, cutting off digital support networks could worsen outcomes. And fundamentally, there's a development concern. If young people don't learn to navigate social media until age 16, they miss the critical years of graduated skill building. We don't eliminate sex education until age 18. We provide age appropriate information and guidance. Why is digital literacy different? The rush legislation process itself is revealing. The bill passed in 9 days, with only one business date for public submission, despite receiving 15,000 responses. Youth directly affected by this law report being systematically excluded from consultation. As 17-year-old journalist Leonardo Puglisi testified, This is a government obviously not made up for teenagers, making law about social media when they didn't grow up in the social media age. Quote. This brings us to the fundamental tension this law exposes. The government claims to support parents struggling with online safety, yet removes parental discretion entirely. Parents cannot consent even for children they believe mature enough. This rare override of family decision making reveals deeper uncertainty as the state's capacity to regulate digital spaces increases. Should it exercise that power even when family disagree? The ban treats children primarily as vulnerable beings requiring protection rather than developing agents needing graduate autonomy. This conflicts with international human rights frameworks recognizing children's right to information, expression, association, and political participation. The Australian Human Rights Commission emphasized this limitation must be lawful, necessary, and proportionate. Standard they argue the ban fails to meet. And there's the question of alternatives. The UK pursue duty of care legislation requiring platforms to proactively prevent harm. This places accountability on companies designing addictive, harmful products, infinite scroll, autoplay, and algorithmic amplification of extreme content. By excluding children rather than regulating design, Australia allows companies to continue harmful practice while claiming youth protection. Here's what we know for certain. Australia is conducting a genuine experiment with global implication. 27 other countries are watching closely. If this appears successful, similar bans might proliferate worldwide. If it fails, youth circumvent restriction while privacy harms multiply. It might discredit regulatory approaches entirely. But success itself is ambiguous. It is fewer youth on social media, better mental health outcomes, and what cost to privacy to vulnerable population, to democratic participation by young people on issues affecting their futures. The law reflects a choice, prioritizing collective protection over individual freedom, governmental judgment over parental discretion, access restriction over platforms reform. Whether this proved prescient protection or counterproductive overreact, we won't know for years. What we should demand is what this process lacks: genuine consultation with affected youth, rigorous evaluation of alternatives, acknowledgement of trade offs, and honesty about limitation. Protection of children is a worthy goal, but rush legislation excluding the voice of young people, ignoring expert warning, and building surveillance infrastructure affecting all citizens. That's not protection. That's paternalism, masquerading as a policy. The question isn't whether we should protect children online, it's whether this particular approach with these specific costs and unclear benefits represent the solution we claim to seek, or merely the appearance of action in the fact of complex problems we don't yet fully understand. This is Miko Santos, and welcome to Inside OSPO.